So in this video, we're going to discuss how to divide rational expressions. If you're going to divide the fraction a over b divided by c over d, now we have to discuss the constraints and the restrictions. Okay, there's something new here. So if I ask you, if you see this expression, how many divisors do you see? It's like me asking you, if you see this figure, how many squares do you see? Some people will say 4, some people will say 5. Actually, there are 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and the big square. So it's the same thing here. Okay, this is a divisor, divides A, this divides C, but this whole thing also divides A over B. So there are three things that should not be equal to 0. B cannot be equal to 0, D cannot be equal to 0, and C over D cannot be equal to 0. Now, for C over D, when will this be 0? Of course, when C is equal to 0, right? So, in short, if you are dividing rational expressions, there are more constraints because you have to look for the values that will make this 0 and exclude them. Also this and this. So our constraints is B, D, and C cannot be equal to 0. Okay. So how do we divide? Okay, so we keep the dividend. We don't change the first part. We convert it to multiplication, and we get the reciprocal of this, or you say flip it. So we just multiply it to D over C. Don't forget that. Before you do any factoring, be sure that you convert it to multiplication and you flip it first, so you don't forget it later on. So this is our example 1. Okay, so say for example you have this fraction here. So we're going to divide. So again, we're going to convert this to multiplication, and don't forget to put this in the numerator, and this one will be in the denominator. Okay, so that will be 3x squared minus 4x minus 4. And here it will be 5x plus 15. Now it's multiplication, okay? All right, so our next step is to factor them. So show work, okay? I've shown all the factoring here on the side. Okay, so this one will be a simple trinomial. This is difference of squares. This is a bottom up, and this a GCF. So please pause the video and try to factor them one by one, showing work on the side of your paper. Okay, so the factors here, I've done all of them. So let's just write the factored form here. So this will be x plus 3x plus 2. Okay, difference of squares, x plus 2x minus 2. Times, this will be 3x plus 2 times x minus 2 all over 5 is GCF x plus 3. Okay, so now it's multiplication. That is our previous lesson. So there is nothing new here aside from you have to get the reciprocal of this, convert it to multiplication, and the constraints. Okay, so the constraints, this, and this cannot be equal to 0. So let's get our constraints. Do not forget. So this one will be negative 2 for this portion here, negative 3 here, and the new thing is this should not be 0 also, this part here. So 3x plus 2, that will give you negative 2 over 3. Negative 2 over 3. And 2. Okay, that's already there. Anyway, if you like to write it here, that's okay. Okay, so now we can start canceling common factors. So I see an x plus 3 here and an x plus 3 there, an x minus 2, and an x minus 2 here. Yeah. And an x plus 2, and an x plus 2 there. So our final answer will be, the simplified form is just 3x plus 2, that's left on top, divided by 5. And of course, x cannot be equal to negative 2 to negative 3, negative 2/3. There is no need to repeat these two, okay? So these are the numbers that will make our denominator 0. So they should not be, x should not be equal to that, or x is excluded.